Did you get Desmunda the invite? Hey guys, I think we're live. I'm Robbie Krager, the Flip Flop Flipper. McKenna will be coming in from Orlando, Florida, and you're going to see Adon and I in studio today. These Monday Night Live Q&A sessions, the Monday Night Power Hour, whatever we're calling them, they keep getting better and better. I believe that the questions you guys have been bringing are the reason for that. So it's an amazing time when we get lots of questions. Tonight, we're going to be joined by the winner of the school contest, Desmunda Smith, I believe. And she's got a couple of deals we can talk about, but I'm going to answer her questions. She's going to have 15 minutes where we're going to get to go back and forth and talk about anything that's on her mind, whether that's real estate or if she just wants to know how the weather is in Puerto Rico. We'll talk about anything she wants. I believe it's going to be real estate related. I know that she forwarded over, and I was looking at a few properties that she's thinking of buying. And so we might be able to run through those and chat back and forth, figure out what her needs are, what she's looking for as a new investment, and hopefully give her some great value, and you guys will get a lot out of it as well. So if you would, as you come in, give the video a like, let people know that we're live. So if you've got partners who are interested in real estate investing, invite them on. If you've got a Facebook group or wherever it is, whoever is doing deals with you, bring them on, ask the questions. Any questions you've got about real estate, we want to give you guys great value by answering your questions. So Adon, can we start letting McKenna in and we're still setting things up. I see McKenna is there now. You can unmute him. And oh, he's not ready either. Nobody's ready, you guys. So what am I going to say here? So we've been doing really well the last few weeks with having lots of attendance here on Monday night. And in fact, last week we didn't get to all the questions. So if you guys can put your questions ahead of time into the chat, so we'll try to get to as many of them as we can. We go for about an hour, guys, and I do have to shoot more content after this. So I'm going to try to end this at around 7:30, at 7:30, 7:35. I go a little bit longer if we're having a lively discussion. So the more questions we get, the more we'll go. But put your questions in there early, and we'll get to them. We'll go through them. I see McKenna's now sitting there. McKenna, you want to say hi?
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Can't hear McKenna yet.
Oh, can you hear me now?
McKenna, something on your side there with your microphone, I think. And Adon is setting up. We had a meeting with the contractor run over, but hey, that's real estate.
Test. Hey guys,
hear you
glad
now.
To be here.
All right. And I see Desmunda as well is in the chat waiting. So McKenna, you want to say hi, introduce yourself, and then we'll get going with Desmunda. Hopefully I'm saying her name right.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey. Hey guys, I'm McKenna. If you haven't met me before, I'm Robbie's son. I'm a real estate fix and flip rental business up here in Orlando, Florida. I think I know from these guys here, and I worked for them for a long time, and now I'm doing it all by. And talking to you guys, hoping to get together. Let's get some good questions in the chat, and look forward to talking to you more.
Mm-hmm. All right, and so we're going to bring in our special guest, Desmunda Smith, and she won our contest inside of our school platform where we use the interaction, post, likes. McKenna, tell the people how you win the school contest. Introduce and Desmunda, please, Des, tell me if I'm saying your name wrong. I hope I'm not butchering it too bad.
It's Desdemona.
Desdemona. I'm sorry about that, Des.
Okay.
Do you go by Des or Desdemona? Which do you prefer?
Either.
Either. Okay. All right. McKenna, tell us how we got here. How did she win this so that somebody can do it again next week?
Hey guys, so she is in our free community. And every week we're going to bring on a new person that is the highest in the 7-day leaderboard. And the way you get points there is by commenting, liking, making posts, all together just engaging with the community. And she crushed the leaderboard. I think she had twice the amount of points as the next person. So, Des, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you. And we had her send over some deals that she wanted to talk about tonight. And if you guys are ready, we can kind of just start digging into it. Does that sound good to you?
I'm ready.
Yeah, and Des, this is your time. So you ask the questions that you want, and we'll jump into it. McKenna, where's the link to the deals that she sent over? Where is the link to the deals that she sent over? Sorry.
There, chat with us. You want me to-
Yeah. So why don't we just jump into the first one, Des? You wanna lead us out?
Yeah, sure. So the first one I have up is a property that I'm interested in. These are both off-market properties, and it's in Carolina, kind of like in the northern, close to Trujillo Alto, kind of in that part. And it's a 6-bedroom, 3-bathroom, and they're asking $325,000. It's turnkey, fully furnished. Nothing's really needed to begin short-term rentals.
Is it a short-term rental area? Are there other people doing short-term rentals in that area?
I didn't see that there was like right in that neighborhood, but like around.
But around, near enough, right? Like,
Yeah.
It's not. So the area you're describing, it's inland, right? So it's
Yeah.
not. It's not near the coast. It's not super close to the airport either. I mean, it's not far from the airport. We
No,
have some long-term rentals over there in that Trujillo Alto area.
Yeah, it's about 20 minutes from everything around.
Right.
And
so it's an area that certainly would work for Airbnb. I don't know that it's like ideal, but if the property is super nice and has some experience or some reason that people would want to go there, like a really nice swimming pool or, great mountain views or something like that. Tell us a little bit about the property then.
So right now it doesn't have those things. I would like to turn it into like a wellness B&B. So that's what people would be coming for, is more of the atmosphere of wellness. So I would be changing some of the decor to go with that a little bit more, and also offering other services and like excursions and other practitioner services, meals and such, to make it more appealing, of course. And so it would actually be built, like I would actually be building a business around the B&B. That would be the business. But I'm definitely looking for like owning the property that I have a bread and breakfast in. So I'm looking to acquire the property first and then do the wellness bread and breakfast.
I love that idea of building a business around that. Does fit the mold, right? So that would give a reason for someone to come. So they're not just coming for an Airbnb. Is this the one that's up on the screen now? Can she see that?
That's one of our comparables.
Yeah, that's one of the comparables.
Okay.
The photos link. There's the
top link.
Yes, that.
Oh, here we go. Got a lot of photos.
Yes.
Is it on Airbnb or is it?
They have it listed on Airbnb. I think he also uses Verbo and other places. The person selling it has other large short-term rentals, so that's their niche, is large short-term rentals. I think this one has the least number of bedrooms of the things I saw listed on their Airbnb. Most of them are large.
I like that also, that niche of hosting big groups. We've been thinking about that as well. Like the price point can just become outrageously good if you can sleep 10 or 15 or 20 people, and
Right.
and it only costs what, a few $100s a night, maybe even up to $1,000 a night, but you're sleeping so many people that your price per person is
Yes.
very, very nominal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And also, like, Puerto Rico has been a place that has been like a go-to for wellness and wellness retreats. And because I've been there for a few years, I've been communicating with people in the wellness community, and a lot of people need space.
And is that
Do
your
you know how
background, or
much
are you
they're
from wellness?
making monthly?
Do I know what?
Oh.
Oh, sorry. There was two questions.
I asked, do you know how much they're making monthly on the Airbnb? And he was asking about your background.
Okay, so they said they're making about $5 to $6K a month, and I would of course be asking for verification of that, but first I need like a proof of funds is what they're asking for. And background, yes, wellness. I do intend to go to naturopathic school in Puerto Rico and like next fall, hopefully. So I'm trying to get settled before that. But yes, I have like my master's in healthcare administration, so that's what I do is set up and administrate healthcare and health and wellness, but I prefer to do it in holistic wellness than like the institutionalized healthcare we have.
So if they're bringing in 6,000 a month, if that was actually net revenue and they're offering it at 350 or 330, what did you say?
They're asking 325.
325. I mean, that would be a really good deal if it's proven revenue and they have bookings, for the future that are already on the books.
Right.
I think that would be something that's a great deal. I see your comps and I'm looking at your comps, and the comps in the area are at or below the price that they're asking. So that's not ideal. But then when you add in the revenue, that changes everything. The revenue portion of this is huge.
Right. And also the comps are 5 bedrooms, not 6. So that's just one difference.
So you have one extra bedroom. Are the comps also Airbnb or nightly rental?
One of them is just seems like a regular home, like single family residential, and the other one has more than one unit.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if it's a short-term rental.
I think it's going to be key for you to verify and see that the revenue that they're giving you is legitimate, and then try to figure out what is the actual net revenue, right? Like, so if they're running at a 50% cost, you're still close to having a pretty good deal there, right? Like, I mean, if you're bringing in 3,000 a month, you're down to around a 10% return, which that's not ideal to buy something on that 10% return on someone's Airbnb revenue, unless you think that they're not running it well and you see a massive upside, right? So if they're netting 6,000 a month and you're buying it at a 20 cap, well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good for anybody. And I think obviously their asking price to what you're going to buy it at, that's still yet to be determined, right? Like, so I'm sure you're going to start at a lower price and offer them that, and maybe you meet somewhere in the middle. But if they're asking 325, maybe you're buying it at 280 or 300, and it really starts to kick that number up. So depending on how much of the revenue is profit versus just gross profit. So net profit is going to be something really important for you to figure out.
Yes, and I also would be requesting some amount of
seller
seller financing. I would be requesting some amount of seller financing. I did ask if he's open to terms, and he is open to some level of owner financing. Possibly.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, that certainly that helps.
So that can help to close the gap of where I want to be, where we're between where he wants to be and where I want to be. So
that's huge.
What kind of terms has he discussed?
Yeah, what has he said he would take, or has he said?
Last we spoke, the last number that I offered was 280, and he said close. So he definitely wants closer to his asking than 280, but also seller financing could be a piece of that. Yeah.
Do you have any idea what kind of terms he would take? Like if you put 30 or 40% down, would he finance the balance, and for how long, and what kind of interest rate, or you haven't gotten that far?
So the example he gave, I think he would probably be more interested in maybe 30% or less, so seller financing.
So he wants you to come up with the lion's share of it, and then he finances a smaller portion. So
Right.
he would go for 70% down and then seller finance the balance.
Correct.
Okay. Well, listen, any seller financing is helpful, right? I mean, that's
exactly. So I'm looking for financial partners for both of my deals. And then I'm running the business there, and they would just get their monthlies off of, you know, the stays, because my business that I'll run while I'm there would be separate, like the other stuff that I would be doing, the wellness stuff.
Why not?
So you're looking for a partner to come in on the ownership of the building, and they will be in on the profit of the Airbnb, and then you're going to have some secondary businesses as well. That's awesome. What kind of splits have you thought about offering? Are you trying to do 50-50 with an equity partner, or what are you considering?
Well, if they're fully funding, I'm totally open to a 50-50 with an equity split and some revenue shared monthly. And then, you know, if they're not fully funding it, then it would be some type of percentage based on the percentage that they're able to give, you know.
Absolutely. If you had to raise
I'm pretty amenable.
$250,000.
Yeah, I'm pretty amenable to negotiating terms that work for both of us. I like wins around the table. So
have you done any real estate deals prior to this, or
the only
what were you doing in the States?
I haven't done any yet. I've done one in Baltimore that was a seller finance long-term property that I bought back in 2017, and I sold in 2021 just before I happened to move to Puerto Rico. So now I'm trying to re-engage and actually build my retirement income, as well as the life that I want to live. So part of this may be a little bit house hacking, but I also, like, if I'm running a bread and breakfast, I kind of want to be there on site because there's a lot of things I'll be doing there.
Do you currently own here on the island?
No, I do.
Renting. And wouldn't it be better maybe to look like an FHA product and just tell them you're going to live there and put 3% down?
No, right now I'm not financially in that position, so I would prefer.
Well, you can still do a partner that way, though. You can.
So yeah,
less money to bring to the table.
Yeah, if there's a credit partner that's available that is willing to do that, then yes, I'm open to that.
That's not a bad idea if it would qualify for FHA, and it looks like it would. Now, there may be someone who's watching this and they think that they'd like your project. If you guys were able to find someone, if you found somebody that could do the FHA loan, now you've only got to figure out how to come up with 3 to 5% plus closing costs, and you borrow the money from the bank at a very low interest rate, and that's great. I mean, that would be phenomenal. That's a good idea.
It's about like 11,000 for the 3%.
Yeah. So if you only need 15 grand or so, or 20 grand,
how much to close?
With FHA, you could negotiate everything. Like you could just come in with 3% of the sales price. And I'm not an expert on this, but you could wrap the closing costs into it, is what I'm saying. So maybe you offer them, you come to your best deal and then tell them, hey, I want to get an FHA loan. And maybe you bring up the sales price a bit so that you wrap in some of those closing costs and you're very low money out of pocket.
Yeah.
I'm assuming this house is less than 5 or less than 4 or less units right now. So it would qualify FHA and rural, by the way. You could probably get a rural loan.
It's one single house with a bunch of rooms, right? It's not.
It's 2 units. He said it's like side by side units.
Yeah, that's fine. Still qualifies.
Yeah, that would qualify for sure. Also, you probably know this, but maybe you don't. But if you're going to run it as a bed and breakfast, there is a section in Act 60 that takes care of bed and breakfast, and you can get 40% tax credits back. You can make the revenue at a 4% corporate tax rate, and you'll only pay like 25 cents on the dollar for property taxes. There's a whole bunch of goodies that come with doing that. So the government likes to reward people to do the kind of investing that they want you to do. Puerto Rico wants you to invest in hospitality. So if you can do a bed and breakfast, there is the chance that it'll qualify. It's likely it would qualify for a bed and breakfast, which would be a 60% tax credits. All you need is 3 to 5 units and you living there running the bed and breakfast.
Okay, yeah, that
Oh,
definitely.
and you doesn't have to be you, actually. It could be anybody, but
Yeah,
Someone has to live in there and run.
somebody needs to live there and serve breakfast.
The second deal you have there is also for Airbnb, or is that a flip or something?
no, that would be Airbnb. It's fully furnished as well.
Yeah.
And doesn't need anything. And
What's the difference between both of them?
the difference is this one is only 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. It's across the street from the Isla Verde beach, right by the Walgreens, if you know where that area is. Like right off the highway. When you come off the highway, you make the right, and then you see the Walgreens on the right. It's like the building next to it. So it's very convenient to the beach and all kinds of eateries and everything. So that would most definitely be like just short-term rental right there.
Just the pictures of that. Wow, that looks good.
And it has
Do you
like
know
the
what the
hurricane.
monthly income is on this?
There is no monthly income. She was living in it as primary residence for the last 6 years. So it's
Oh, you know what this is? We went to see
This is Brenton's place.
Yeah.
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 oh, okay.
We seen this place. We saw it like a year ago.
Oh, okay. What did you think about it?
I like
Actually, it's on the other side.
it's the same building or the yeah. So I liked it. They're small units. They're more like hotel rooms. But you said this is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. The one we looked at was just like a hotel room, just an efficiency.
Yeah, it didn't have
So this
And it
video right
wasn't-
here.
and it wasn't anywhere near this nice, to be honest.
Yeah, she did some work in it. I don't know how recently, but she's been living there for 6 years, so it's not too old.
The pool area, it's kind of a communal pool area, but it's really nice, right?
Yeah, it's a communal pool for the building.
Yep.
And it comes with a parking space.
How many bedrooms is this? You said 3?
2.
Two bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. So the next bedroom that she'll go into is the master, which has the bathroom inside of it.
I like
And each-
these little
Oh, and
videos.
also the doors have locks. So she put locks on the doors because she wasn't sure if she was going to do a short-term rental. So the bedrooms and the laundry room already have locks on them. And the building also has a communal laundry room that has, you can wash at a cost. So I don't have to let them use this washer and dryer if I didn't want to.
Yeah, or you could save the washer and dryer for your cleaning crew,
Right.
and you could let the guests use the coin.
Right.
Oh.
And then also it has a emergency 800-gallon water tank on the roof.
Does that have a generator?
Any generator for the building?
It does not have a generator, but I can get one of those. That's pretty simple. But the water part, you always need water. So she said the water would last about a month if the water went out.
Well, that's certainly good. You can live on water.
Hmm.
You can't live without it.
So
Right.
what would be your pros and cons against buying this compared to the other one? Because this is a better location for sure. But to do
Yes.
the wellness thing is definitely the other one.
So the wellness thing is my passion project. This one would be my cash cow project.
Yeah, no, that
So
That was
just something to back up the other one because low seasons happen. So yeah, it has hurricane shutters for the porch windows.
She
Does
did
it
a good
include
job with
parking?
these videos, didn't she? Yeah. Does it include a parking space?
Yes, it includes the 1 parking space.
Okay.
But she said that the parking lot is hardly ever full. There's always spaces so people can park.
And you're allowed to do Airbnb there?
Yes, the building, it does allow it. They do charge an extra like $30 to $40 to the HOA if you do short-term rentals, just for like the additional like garbage and stuff like that. But yeah.
they gotta get their dues.
And she'd be selling it furnished, I guess.
Yes, selling it fully furnished just like that. She's just taking her personal effects.
So Des, I would say, and I've said this several times on our YouTube channel, I don't love buying properties that don't have cash flow based off of nightly rental stuff. If you're going to buy a property thinking it's going to cash flow because of Airbnb, I'd rather see you make an offer based off of what it would rent for long term.
Right.
So the reason that I say that is because long term is kind of the sure thing. And if you can buy it at a price that it's going to cash flow even on the long term rents, and then you can do better because you're going to spend the time and the effort, put the work in to do Airbnb. I don't think you have to buy based on Airbnb potential values. However, that's a very nice unit, and it's not terribly overpriced or anything, right? Like, so
Right.
the area is A plus. That's about as A plus as that can get. I mean, unless you were on the other side of the street directly on the beach, it
Exactly.
really doesn't get a lot better than that. That is a place that would stay rented all the time. So
Even in the low season, and that's what I would like, is something that would even stay rented in the off peak season.
I think even in the off-peak season, yeah, you could be renting to snowbirds. You could be,
Well,
for sure.
And even if you have to go long-term rental, you probably get $2,000 a month or more.
More than
Yeah.
that, I'm pretty sure more than a little bit more, maybe like 2,500.
Yeah, no, but you're in the numbers there. Like,
So if you're running it on $2,500 a month, that's not a great price point that you're at. Like, she's asking full value, but it's so clean and so easy. And then I really do think you have some upside with the Airbnb. I do think also your ideal partner might be someone who can finance it, and you don't even necessarily have to find somebody who's got cash. It actually makes more sense on both of these deals for you to go and get bank financing. And I think that it's potential for you to get bank financing on both of them if you find the right partner. And the reason why is because your return on investment explodes from there, right? Like, so if you have to put $300,000 cash out to buy either of these places, on the one that's already bringing in cash flow, assuming the 6,000 was a 100% profit, which it's not, that's a 20 cap, and that would be phenomenal cash on cash return. But on a property like the second one, you're buying them both at around 300,000, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you put the cash out and you run the math, you're probably not getting the highest return for a cash on cash. Like, if you were doing 12 to 20%, that would be really good. But if you borrow the money on an FHA loan on either of these places, your return just goes through the roof. Like, your cash on cash return is what I'm talking about. The amount of money that you make after you pay all of the debt and the taxes and all of that, versus how much cash you have to put in. So, on either deal, maybe it's $20,000 cash. You're going to make a ridiculous return. And in both places, you have lots of upside and lots of potential for equity to grow over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I intend to keep them long term, so I'm trying to keep them at least a decade.
Probably 8%. We'll run the math real quick on a FHA loan at 8%, and maybe it's better than that. But if it was 8%,
so you'd probably be making like almost close to $3,000 payments every month.
Your monthly payment would be $3,000 a month. So yeah, if you're doing that and you run the Airbnb numbers, have you run the math on the second deal here, the one on the beach or near the beach? Like, how much would you get nightly?
Yes, I did. They have like a 77% occupancy rate, and the nightly rate's around $277 for the whole apartment. And if it was just one bedroom, one bathroom, or one, rental overnight, it's $177 a night.
Wow.
70,000 divided by 12. So,
well, that's $6,500 a month that you would expect to bring in before costs, right? So even if you ran that at a 40%, which if you're going to run it yourself, you could do better than that. That means you're netting about $4,000 a month, $3,800 a month. That's not bad at all. Right. And again, if you find this right partner, if you find a partner who can come in with the credit, you said you're not set up for it, but you're here. So there's value to you being here. And I say this all the time on YouTube. Real estate's not all about the money. It's about finding the deal and putting it together and being able to actually do what you say and run the show and get this revenue through Airbnb. There's a good partnership to be had here. And you may know someone back home who would trust that you can do what you're going to do, or you may find someone through the school community or through this YouTube community who would want to partner with you on this. And we'll invite people to now ask questions and maybe I don't know how we lead you towards a partnership, but that's like kind of the heart of what we're doing here on this channel, right? We want to find ways to put real estate deals together, and you're doing the work. You're going out there and you're finding deals. And I looked at your deal sheets, the first when I saw him this afternoon, I thought, well, her comps are at what she's paying at it, and it's not necessarily great. But now that I'm talking to you, I'm shifting a little bit, because if you can negotiate it down just a little bit, and we talk about deal structure more so than we talk about, you don't have to go get this thing at half price or anything for this to be a great deal. They're both potentially cash cows, like you said. One's a passion project where you could live and you run the business, and then another one, I mean, I think it's true, 75% occupancy in that area. Completely doable. So we have some questions, and if you'll stick around with us, maybe you can answer some questions. And I'm sorry we didn't get to the third deal, guys. The third deal was actually one that I have for sale with some seller financing, and we're going to deep dive into that on our masterclass on Thursday through the Apex group. So if anybody's interested about that, set up a call with McKenna. If you're not a part of Apex, we'll get you set up over there. So what's our question?
How would you partner? How does a partnership with FHA look like?
So how does a partnership with FHA look like? On both of these deals, I think your best partner is probably someone who goes to the bank and fully qualifies for a loan. And the way that it looks is that Des gets it under contract and finds someone who will qualify for the loan, and you guys go the traditional route. You go to the bank and you get the loan from the bank, from Banco Popular or First Bank, and it's just a simple FHA loan. Once you've bought it, your partnership, your structure, it can be negotiated between you and Des. But I think basically, if Des, I don't want to speak to you for you, but if it was me and I had these deals and I found someone who was going to come in and put their credit up, I would probably be willing to give that person half of the profits, and I would take half of the profits. And what are the profits? The profits are the excess of all the expenses. So you have taxes and insurance and principal and interest and cleaning fees and all of the stuff that it costs to run a property. And at the end of the month, there's something that's left over, hopefully, and that's what you're sharing in. And then you're also sharing in the upside value. So you have over time, that loan's going to get paid off. Your place is going to appreciate. But even if it never appreciated $1, you hold on to it long enough, you'll have an asset that's worth a few $100,000. You won't owe anything on it. And when you sell it, you guys would split that money up as well.
Yeah, so I am definitely open to the terms of how we split things and stuff like that with a partnership. As I said, I want wins around the table, so it would just be a matter of us having conversations to develop rapport and discussing what we want out of the situation.
Yeah, that's right.
So Des, if anybody wanted to reach out to you right now, how would they get a hold of you so they can potentially talk about partnership?
My email would be best. My email is dsmith.rei@gmail.com.
Do we have other questions?
I see another question from Justin. He was asking if I'm NPR or looking at properties from the States. So I am back and forth. And actually, the one that I saw that is the Passion Project, I found out about that property while I was still in Puerto Rico a few weeks ago. And then I'm back in Baltimore now. But I'm also involved in like a REI group here in Baltimore as well. So I do look for properties in the general Maryland DMV area sometimes too as well. But
He also asked how do you find them? How are you looking for properties from the States here?
Oh, because while I did live in Puerto Rico since 2021, so I have been like intermingling in the audiences that people would be where I want to be. So real estate investing and stuff like that. So I found many groups through Facebook, as well as everyone knows Puerto Rico runs on WhatsApp. So there's WhatsApp groups as well. So yeah, between Facebook groups and WhatsApp groups, people that are local, they'll just post it there if they don't really want to put it like on the market. So that's where I look.
You have any questions?
And Des, I think we saw each other when you were just here last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
on the street, right? Like you happened to run into me, and that's funny.
So yeah,
it's a small island, guys. It really is, right? Like, and the real estate investing community here on the island is pretty small and it's pretty tight knit. So it's great that you guys are now. Hopefully, we're going to expand the community a little bit and invite more people through the school Adon, you have another question?
Someone said that's the thing, hard to find a person willing to put up the credit. So if this was you, how do I protect myself if I'm the one who's going to put up the credit? How do I protect myself doing the deal with you? We just met, you know, it seemed like.
Well, yeah. So it's not everybody's going to put up their credit, but if you meet with Des and you like the deal and you want to find someone who's here on the island, and say you're back home in the DC area, and you're going to get the FHA loan here, and Des is going to run the project. You own the property in the name of the person who's getting the FHA loan generally, and then you'd either put it into an entity after you close on the FHA loan. So that would be one way to do it. Or you leave it in the name of the person who gets the FHA loan and you set up a joint venture. And so the beautiful thing about Puerto Rico is they lean heavily on contracts. So it's a pretty safe relationship for Des and this person who has the credit. To Adon puts up the credit, and we buy it in Adon's name. You get the FHA loan. Des comes in, and you have a joint venture with Des to run the project and to do the day-to-day operations, and you guys are going to share the profits, and you're going to share all of the upside. And that's how you'd set it up. You'd set it up with a simple joint venture possibly, or maybe you guys could set up an LLC, you know. I think the key is to first find the person who you want to do the partnership with. So if someone's interested in talking to Des, I think you need to reach out to Des, and you guys get to know each other and get to like each other and make sure you want to do this together. That's the most important part of the thing. Finding the deal that Des is doing, being on the island of Puerto Rico that Des is doing, these are really valuable parts of the transaction. And I say all the time, money's not the most important part of the thing. I mean, in this case, Des is finding this deal is super important. Is it expensive to set up an LLC? No, it's not expensive to set up an LLC. It's not difficult to set up an LLC. The partnerships I'm talking about are super simple to figure out.
So if you're doing a JV, what do you need? A contract you both agree on, and then a notary to seal it all in, and that's it?
Yeah. That's exactly right. I mean, you could go as simple as Google search a joint venture agreement.
Okay.
And I actually already have some drafted.
and you already have some drafted.
Yeah, I do business administration services, so I have some things already drafted.
And you're a part of a RIA somewhere back home, and so you have a community there to lean on, and you're in the school group, so you have a community here to lean on as well. So that's
I would probably ask your RIA in any group you're in, if anybody's done something similar to what you're going after, and just ask them, hey, do you have a copy of the contract I could probably use or I can work off to, make a good template.
Yeah, I think I would caution anybody who is going to become a real estate investor and just starting out, don't overcomplicate things. You don't need to think that things need to be more complicated than they are. Real estate investing has been around forever, and people have been figuring out how to do partnerships together forever. So it is, most of the time, it's as simple as, writing it down, what it is that you want your partnership to do. And then you can even take bullet points and hand them to a real estate attorney and say, here's what we want to do. Protect us, Mr. Attorney, and go that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, I put your email up here. Maybe let them know one more time where they can reach you, and anything else you want to say. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it. And yes, anyone that is interested in either of these deals or partnering with me on any other deals, whether in Puerto Rico or in the Metro DMV area, you can contact me at dsmith.rei@gmail.com. And yeah, let's get to know each other, make some money, make some deals.
One more thing I would say, if you're able to get some credit partners like you're talking about here, you could probably do both deals easily.
You don't have to have the same partner on each deal. You could potentially, but it could be that you do both deals with a different credit partner. You guys are also going to need the 20 grand or so that it's going to cost you, to come to the table. But these things aren't that super hard to figure out. And when you're inside of a community like we have on school, or like we try to provide on this YouTube channel, you have other people who are like-minded who want to do deals, and they're at different levels too, right? So you're able to be, Des is able to be on the island of Puerto Rico, sourcing deals and finding them, has the will to go and fight through all of the minutia and get it done and make money. And someone else out there in the world can't come to Puerto Rico yet, but they really want to be here invested in stuff. And so what a great opportunity. I think I'm glad you won this little contest that we did on school, because this is the first time we've ever done it. And this was tremendous for me. I really have enjoyed this conversation we've just had over the last 20 minutes or so, or wow, we went longer than that, but
it was a good conversation. Thank you very much.
It went long.
Well, we want to thank you, Des. Definitely keep shooting for the deal of the week. We would love to have you back on here.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, and keep us posted on, whether or not you get under contract with something, whether or not you find someone who's interested in partnering with you. I mean, we'd like to hear about and be a part of this story. And if there's anything we can do to help facilitate it, we're interested in doing that. So
wonderful. Yeah. Thank you very much for your support.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right.
Have a good night.
All right.
Good to see you. Good to meet you. Good night.
And don't go anywhere, Des. Hopefully you stick around for the next half hour or so as we'll finish up our power hour.
So Mario has a big question here.
Mario has a question.
I'm looking at a property that has a reverse
before
mortgage.
we dig into that, I just want to plug our community at school. And if you want to be on next week, go in there. We're doing a weekly contest, and if you get the most points, we're going to bring you on, and you can be featured every week. So love to see you in there. Love to people post.
Your internet sucks in your house.
We'll have you in there.
Yeah, McKenna, your internet's not very good. You're breaking up. But yeah, anybody who's not already a part of the school community, grab the link, come in and jump in there, become part of our community. We're building this community on school because it's another place where we can give value, and you can come and network with people. You can come learn with others. And ultimately, like you just saw with what's going on with Des, we want to see deals getting done, right? Like that's what it's all about. Networking, learning, and doing deals. That's why we're inviting you to the school platform. So hopefully we'll see all of you guys that aren't already a part of that over there. Now, let's hear Mario's question.
I'm looking at a property that has a reverse mortgage. The original amount is $110K. He's asking $350, $250 to pay off the reverse mortgage, and $100K for him. He told me he might be available to negotiate lower payoff to the bank, closer to $110K instead of the $250. So he brought this deal last week, and the idea I gave him was, maybe pay off the mortgage and just keep the owner make him the bank now, give him a certain amount of money down, and just keep him as seller finance, because it is a reverse mortgage. And I know you were trying to look at it a way to do sub 2 with it, but we're not immortals, so it's pretty hard.
What we've sort of learned about these sub 2 deals is that they are more difficult to do sub 2 with, because basically the way it is that the bank is giving money to the guy either monthly or ahead of time, and he gets to live there in the property until he sells it or dies, and then he has to pay them back. So they are more aggressive with due on sale clauses and things like that. But I think Adon's idea is right. If you can negotiate seller financing and get a good enough deal that paying off the 110. I'm not clear, Mario, why it would go from 250 to the bank to 110 to the bank, if that's a short sale or what he's actually talking about there. But obviously, if he can pay 110 off to the bank and you're buying it at 250 or 300, there's a lot of spread there, and you could maybe give him some small amount of cash and monthly payments and have him in as a seller financer. I'm not sure if you can put in really quick, are you looking to do this as a flip? does this house have lots of equity? Does it need lots of work? Here I'm asking you more questions than you've asked me, but I'm always curious.
I'd like to add, guys, when I was wholesaling, I worked on a deal with a reverse mortgage, and it was very difficult to negotiate with the bank. We actually attempted to do exactly this, where we were going to pay the seller X amount of money, and we were going to go and make our spread by negotiating with the bank. And at least in Florida, I learned that they did not want to negotiate. They just wanted the house, or they wanted to have it sold traditionally uh, and get all of their money that way. And they were very closed off. I don't know if it's different in Puerto Rico, and it's obviously a bank by bank thing.
It's probably the same
But
thing.
negotiation is tough on these reverse mortgages. The product is made for them to make money when these people die, and they don't feel the need to take a haircut if they don't have to.
Yeah, obviously they're lending at a super wonderful LTV for the bank, right? Like that's generally what I've seen is like you get a reverse mortgage, you're basically borrowing like up to half of what your property's worth. And so that would mean to me that if I'm the banker, why would I ever take less than what I'm owed? I'm always going to get 100% of what I'm owed, even if I have to wait until after the guy passes on.
We have another question. Have you guys done tax deeds and PR?
We haven't done tax deeds in PR because there's no tax deed sale. I love buying at the tax deed sale. That is one of my preferred ways to find great deals. And I've done it all over the state of Florida. I would absolutely love to see in Puerto Rico a system implemented that when people get behind on their taxes after a period of years, they would be able to be foreclosed on. I do think that there is some system that happens over time, but it's just not clear. And there is no auction on these properties like you would see back in the States. So no, we haven't bought at a tax deed sale in PR because at least up until now, I don't know how you could do it. I don't think that it's a real thing.
It's just a normal foreclosure. That's all we got here.
We have normal foreclosure sales, which we have done here on the island, which is when someone gets behind on their mortgage and the bank comes and forecloses and they take it to the auction at the courthouse steps. And we've been successful with that. And we're going to continue to buy in that manner. We love to buy that way as well. But there's no tax deed system like there is in the States here on the island.
Well, tell me about your deal.
Which
Seller finance deal, the triplex.
we're going to talk about the seller finance deal triplex on our seller finance masterclass this Thursday on the Apex school. So I think we'll save my deal for that time. I'd like to invite you guys all to come to that. McKenna, you want to talk about how people who are in the Flip Flop Flipper school account, they can get access to the masterclass that we're going to have this Thursday, where we're going to deep dive into seller financing, my deal, and a couple of other deals that we've got that we can use as examples and we can use as learning experiences. Before I hand it over to McKenna, on that class, we're going to talk about why would sellers take seller financing? What are some questions that you could ask to qualify a seller to find out if it's a good fit or not, and why we think seller financing is, maybe the best way to be buying things right now with these interest rates that were very low and the real estate market and where we're at. So I hope that many of you guys will join us over there. So McKenna, how can they become a part of that?
So the easiest way to join, guys, there's a link in the description of this video that'll take you to the Apex Real Estate group. You can join right through there. In the group, we're doing weekly calls, and they're Zoom calls, so it's a little bit more personal. You're able to raise your hand on the Zoom, come on stage to ask your questions, and the goal is to have it be more inclusive, that we're able to get to more questions, that we're able to get more specific, just like what we were doing with Des, where we can really dig into people's deals, dig into roadblocks that are stopping them from being a real estate investor. We're trying to equip people to be real estate investors as quick as they can. And then we're also putting in our course that we're creating. It should be up this week, but it's our intro to flipping. If you've no experience and you don't know what you're doing, we've put together a 3-hour course where we go step by step on everything you need to do to flip your first house. And we also have a couple case studies in there where we're going through deals, calling the sellers, making offers, and trying to get a deal on the books. And that's going to be available for there and for free. That course is also going to be in the free school community for a price. It's $500 if you'd like to purchase it there, or the Apex group is $50 a month, and the course is available for free in there. So we'd love to see you on Thursday at the seller financing mastermind.
Yeah, so we're going to do a masterclass on seller financing over on Apex this Thursday, and each week we'll do a different masterclass on Apex. So if you haven't set a call with McKenna, do that through the free community, and we'll talk about getting you over there. We'll also offer it out there at a price to come in for just the masterclass. We'll figure that out, guys. This is new to us, right? Like, so we're trying to work through how we can give you guys the most value. And we started out with YouTube and doing this, and as every time we grow, we get a little bit better at that, and we do that together. So
Let's move on to questions.
let's move on to questions.
What are your long-term goals?
Who's long-term goals?
Yours.
Individually.
Individually, but yours more.
My long-term goals. So I've been a real estate investor for 25 years, and I hope to be a real estate investor for another, but 50 years would be a good goal. If I could make it another 50 years, that would put me at just over 100. I think that'd be a good life lived. I will have accumulated some wealth, and I will have had a hell of a lot of fun along the way. But my goals aren't going to change drastically from what they've been for the last 15 or 20 years. I mean, we've gotten to a point in life where we're very comfortable with where we are, and we don't need to do the next deal. But I love doing what I do. I love finding the next deal and putting real estate stuff together. I love bringing value to people, and I'm passionate about getting people out of the rat race or the matrix, whichever you want to call it. So I think my long-term goals are that to bring alongside of me and my group as many people as we possibly can. We want to change the lives of people through teaching and doing real estate investing together. That's my long-term goals.
You could be the first AI flipping robot, you know? You can live
You could
forever if you
upload, hey,
want.
listen, if you guys can figure out how to upload me into the thing and keep me around, I'm okay.
Elon Musk is working on it.
If I check out here and go to heaven and you just plug in the essence of Robbie into some AI, fine, I'll be a robot.
Tips to encourage people to sell their properties with seller finance, how to overcome rejection. That's a tough one, huh?
How to overcome rejection. McKenna, maybe you want to jump in here, but
Sure.
Here's something I would say about overcoming rejection on convincing people to be in seller financing or convincing people to sell you their properties. Get rejected a lot until you find the person that's not rejecting you. I know that's kind of like duh, right? Of course, but you get better at this the more that you do it. And so I don't know what if there was like a pill you could take so that you could get someone to convince someone of something every single time, everybody'd be doing it. I think the truth is, you're a real estate investor, you're going to get rejected most of the time.
Yep.
And here's the other thing. If you're not getting rejected most of the time, you're offering way too much money. So it's a numbers game.
When I was a wholesaler, guys, I would do regular contracts. I would do seller financing. I would do subject to, everything under the sun. My numbers, if I wanted to make money, I needed to do 100 calls a day. Now, that doesn't mean everyone's answering, but that means I'm dialing my phone 100 times to probably get 30 to 40 different people on the phone. Of those 30 to 40 people I would get on the phone, I would then get it's tough to say because it's been a few years, but approximately of those 30 to 40 people, I would get one person to say yes. Sometimes it was two, sometimes it was three, but let's say one person. And then of those people that I had say yes, I'd only sell half of those deals. We had a 50% close rate. So I would need to dial my phone 200 times and talk to 60 or 70 people to get one deal over the line. I think that a big problem that a lot of people face in this is that they go and find one property and they fall in love with it and they're just trying to negotiate, but you're just never going to be able to bridge the gap of a seller that wants top dollar and they've got a beautiful home and they don't want to sell and they don't need to sell. That's not where you're going to find a deal. You're going to find a deal with a seller that needs to sell quick. They're really stressed about the house. Work needs to be done and they want out. That's the person that you can get a deal with and you can negotiate with. And you can only find them if you're looking and calling and just seeing everything that you can get your eyes on and making offers. Now that I'm not doing wholesaling and I'm doing fix and flips, I get all of these emails with deals and I send everybody an offer. Even if I'm coming in 200,000 under what they're asking, I will send it to them and I just say, hey, you know me, I'm a cash buyer. If you can get this price, I am good to go. I will close 100%. And that's just, it's a math problem. Nothing more than that. And then I move on to the next one.
Yeah, I'd get over the fear of rejection as a real estate investor, and every time you get rejected, that means that the next time you're closer to a yes. So start to feel good about being told no, and you're going to get the yeses. Don't. So as a person who's bought a lot of real estate, I've tried to get to no on most of them as fast as I possibly can. Find a reason that I can't do it, or that they won't sell it to me, or that I'm no longer willing to put up with the pain that it takes to get there, so that I can move on to the next one. Because as a real estate investor, I want to help people, but I also want to make money. And beating your head against the wall against someone who's telling you no isn't necessarily the best use of your time.
All right, we got another question. Carla, if you only have $1,000 in a good credit, how would you invest in a multifamily?
If you only have $1,000, but you have good credit,
yeah,
how would you invest in a multifamily? Well, Carla, I would probably right now, I'd be emailing Des and I would be saying, Des, I have good credit. I don't have much money, but I heard that you've got a good deal. Could we do this deal together? And now you and Des are one step closer to being able to close on one of these projects that's going to make money. If you know, like, and trust each other, and Des can get it under contract and you can qualify for the loan, and now all you need is that extra gap funding, that let's say $19,000. If we were using that, we thought it would take about 20 grand to close one of these things. You only need $19,000. If you've got the credit and Des has the deal, man, finding the rest of the money is going to be really easy. I'm telling you, great deals always find the money. So I would start looking for either deals for yourself where you're going to go get the loan and find someone to come in on the money side with you, or immediately I would email Des tonight. I thought Des put out a couple of deals that could make money for someone like Carla, who's got good credit and doesn't have the money and maybe doesn't have a deal.
What do you guys think about using credit cards with zero interest to fund down to payments to get in the door? I guess just gonna deal with a credit card.
I don't love it. I'm not saying that 0% interest money isn't great. It is, but be careful with that, guys. Those offers can end up costing you money for the rest of your life. If you're very, very disciplined and you have a great system and you can use these 0% interest credit cards, that's fine. Most of us aren't and don't have those systems, and the 0% interest time goes away pretty quick. And then you're at 23 or 25 or 28% interest, and that stuff costs you an arm and a leg. So I'd just be very, very careful with it. I'm not saying that it's completely off the wall to do it if you've got a good plan and it's for a short term. But I don't love it. I don't love it at all.
I'd rather have an investor take half the deal than do a credit card debt. I do hard money, and I like hard money, but they're at 12%. So even if a deal goes long, it's still not the end of the world. With a credit card, if something goes wrong, the interest gets out of hand. If you're experienced and you have a solid game plan, it becomes a math problem. But if you're not experienced and you don't know what you're doing and you're trying to do it for your first one, I'd look elsewhere and try and get more experience before you consider that.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to see someone start out their very first deal. They don't have any money in the world, but they're going to go out and get a bunch of zero interest credits and pull out cash. And man, that scares me a little bit. And I'm pretty risk tolerant, right? Like I'm a real estate investor, but that's a risk that could sink your ship, right? Like, so just be really careful with that consumer debt. And again, unless you're really disciplined and have a good plan, I just wouldn't do it. Now, I went broke because of debt. So guys, I also went 15 years without having a credit card to my name, and I'm perfectly comfortable not having credit cards, but just be careful with it. What's the next question?
Hey guys, put your questions in the chat. We've got time for one or two more, and we'd love to get to them. And if you have a question and we don't get to it tonight, come over to the school community, post it there, and we'll answer in the comments there too.
I think we're a week away from finishing Santa Rita. I've been saying that for the last 3 weeks. So
Hey,
now we're a week away.
we're a week away. We were a week away 3 weeks ago. We're a week away now, and probably it's a shorter week this time, right? Like, so what Adon's talking about is we're finishing a flip. McKenna and I are finishing a flip, the renovation on a flip in Florida. So
we've been a week away for 3 weeks on that one too.
Yeah,
it's
amazing how that happened.
We should do content on this, like, the stages of a renovation. It's like the first 90% is 1/3, the next 10% is 1/3, and the last 1% is 1/3 of your timeline. At least that's the way it can feel sometimes. So we can talk about that at another time. Do we have any more questions? Otherwise, again, I love these Monday Night Lives and these question and answers.
What's the biggest deal you ever closed?
The biggest deal I've ever closed. Inside of an opportunity zone fund, just recently, we closed on a $14 million loan on a project that we bought for 1.1 or $1.2 million in San Juan, and this is something that's happened like in real time just recently. That's got to be the biggest deal that I've been a part of. It was only $1.2 million purchase inside of a opportunity zone fund, and we just closed on a construction loan for $14 million. That's a pretty big deal for us. That's like way outside of my comfort zone.
So is it 13 for you and then 1 for the project?
No, it's 14 for the project and nothing for the GPs. Like we've been working on it for 2 years now, and no money for the GPs, no money at all, and no money for anybody in sight. Like it's a massive project that has to get done before people are going to start to get paid. But yeah, that's a big one. That was a big one.
What are your payments on a $14 million loan?
Yeah,
a freaking ton. I don't even know. I
14,000 a year. I mean, a month or something.
Oh, way more than 14,000 a month. Oh
Isn't
no,
it like
way more.
What is it? What's the interest rate?
Just call it 1% a month. What's that? If
that is
140.
Yeah, 140.
Yeah, something like that. $100,000 a month.
Oof.
It's a big number.
That is,
You don't have the grant.
I'd rather use the credit cards and then it'd be interest free.
Yeah, I mean, we should have probably gone and gotten some zero interest. No, I don't know.
Man, if you could get 14 million interest free, just put it in a treasury bond and you'll be living good.
No
My
kidding.
biggest deal, guys, I closed a $1.4 million wholesale deal that we sold for 2.1. We ended up wholesaling it was 14 houses all in one package from one seller. We wholesaled 3 of them, closed on the rest, renovated, and then sold them off over the next. It took a year until the last one was done. So we made 600,000 on that one. I was that was when I was working for someone, and I got a percentage of the deal, and that was pretty nice.
That was a big deal. I remember you doing that. That was incredible. That was like a tired landlord type deal. One of our favorite people to buy from.
Yep.
Got another question. I understand credit card danger, but how do you feel about using HELOCs for flips?
Yeah, I don't have a HELOC, but I'm looking into it right now. So we use a lot of hard money to buy things, and I've got a lot of equity built up, even in like my house in Florida. And so we're looking at that right now in real time about pulling out a tranche of money that we would then use to do flips. That's an idea. I don't hate that idea too much. Now, I've done 3,000 flips, so I have no fear that I'm going to waste that money or that I'm going to lose that money. If I was just starting out, I'd be cautious. For me, it's more about keeping my wife feeling secure and safe, and as long as I can do that, that's a viable plan for us. And that's one where I can instantly save money. Like if I'm borrowing money at 12 to 14% and I can get a HELOC at 6%, then I can save half of what I'm spending on interest on a flip or two. That's a great idea. It's not the same as the credit card stuff because it's attached to an asset and I live in that asset. I'm going to pay to live there anyways, and I'm going to pay it down. Plus I get to buy the investment property that will pay for it as well. I can either rent it out or I can flip it and sell it. So I don't mind the HELOC nearly as much as I mind the credit card.
Can you talk about Act 60 bed and breakfast 3 to 5 units, please?
Yeah, who's asking that? Blake, good to see you again. Let's make this the last question, guys, and I'll answer this one. I love this question. This is something I have done already and something that I'm about to do again. Using Act 60 to start a bed and breakfast, and this is something that Des was potentially thinking of doing, is a beautiful, beautiful part of Act 60. So especially, Blake, if you want to use it like Des was talking about as a house hack, you can buy a property and live in it and be the innkeeper, be the kind of caretaker, innkeeper, the person who serves breakfast, run your business there. You need 3 to 5 rentable spaces inside of the house. So it could be a big house and you rent the rooms, or it could be a small multifamily and you live in one unit and rent out the other units. And as long as I think that it has to be 3 to 5. 3 to 5. It could be 3 to 6. So don't quote me on that. But 3 is like a minimum, plus the one that you live in, and then it can't go over 5 or 6. Like once you get to 7, you're now a guest house. So those are the differentiate. I'm saying that word wrong. That's what's different between Act 60 with the guest house, which is 7 units or more, versus a bed and breakfast. The other key difference is in a bed and breakfast, you need to live there, or someone needs to live there, right? And you're there 24 hours a day, or someone's there actually putting out the breakfast in the morning, but there's an innkeeper. There's someone who lives there, whether that's you or someone you pay to be there. We've got one in Miramar, and we have an operator. She lives in one of the apartments, and she manages the property, and it's going really, really well, by the way. So I am thinking of, in fact, I was looking at one this afternoon in another part of the island where we're making an offer currently, and we're going to do this again. So I really like that play. Those projects are very easy to manage, and a lot of times they can be single family housing so that you can go to the bank and borrow the money. this is why I would take a HELOC out on my house, because I want to do this quick. And that's the project I'm thinking of investing in. So, again, that's something that's amazing. You get the 40%, you get the 4% tax, income tax through the corporation. You only pay 25 cents on the dollar on your property taxes, and you're in theory supposed to be able to get the zero sales tax. So that means if you go to the Home Depot and you've got your decree, you'd go to the Home Depot and you wouldn't pay the 11.5% sales tax on any of the products that you buy from them, anything that happens that goes into the business. So that could be, the breakfast stuff through Costco or building it out through Home Depot, all of that stuff. So I would be excited about that. If you've got a project like that, Blake, that's a good one to look into. So I think we probably have more questions, but we're going to do this next week, and we're trying to be sensitive to everybody's time. So we try to stick to around an hour, and we've gone over a little bit, which is great. Thank you guys for another great night. Thanks for bringing great questions. And thanks, Des, for coming on with us. And we look forward to someone else hopefully winning next week. Maybe Des will win again. But we'll try and have someone else in the hot seat, if you will. And if you guys like what you saw with that and you want to be that, join us over on School and just make a lot of comments, and you will win the contest and you'll be a part of Monday Night Power Hour.
Des had 30 points. So if you go make 30 posts tonight, good quality posts, or I'm going to delete them. But if you go make good 30 posts, you'll be at the top of the leaderboard, and then you just got to keep your momentum going throughout the week. You could do that tonight.
Yeah. And if you guys haven't joined us on School already, join us over there. We're building something. We're building a platform of like-minded real estate investors. The same thing we're building on YouTube, but it's just another way where we can be more interactive, where we can kind of deep dive into things. And so we'd love to have you become part of that community if you're not already. And thanks, guys, for watching. McKenna, you got anything else to add? And Adon, if you want to close us out, you can after McKenna.
Guys, thanks for watching. There's clickable links in the description if you want to join, if you're not already in. And I hope to see you on Thursday as well for the call.
See you next week.
All right, guys. Good night.
Good night.